Good morning. What I'm about to read to you and say to you, the reason I'm reading it so I've got the words perfect, because some people, if I miss one word or something, they ridicule it. So, Chief Justice Latham in South Australia versus the Commonwealth 1949 said, a pretend law made in excess of power is not and never has been a law at all. A state law that contravenes a common law is in contravention of Australia's Constitution, which in turn would activate Section 109 of the Constitution. All state laws and state constitution must be read subject to the Australian Constitution 1901. The law. HCA 44, 2006, Forge versus ASIC. 7 High Court judges stated, our Constitution reigns supreme, and all other laws and rules are subject to it. And that is it, and any conflict arises, they are invalid and unlawful. Cruden versus Neal. Every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institution formed by his fellow men without his consent. I'll come back to Kirby's comments. It says in the High Court, 1992, Metworley versus Wollongong Shire, one does not have to have services not required or need, and neither do they have to pay them. There goes your councils down the toilet. Where 109 applies, any invalid law can simply be ignored. In the High Court, 1942, Uniform Tax Case per Chief Justice Latham, the words under the Constitution are words of limitation and qualification. Not all enactments purporting to be laws made by the Parliament are binding, but laws made under, in pursuance of, and with the authority conferred by the Constitution, and those only are binding on the courts, judges, and the people. A law in excess of the authority conferred by the Constitution is no law. It is wholly void and inoperative. It confers no rights. It imposes no duties. It affords no protection. The Act itself is binding without limitation or qualification because it is passed by the sovereign Parliament, but the laws passed by the Parliament of the Commonwealth, a subordinate Parliament, must be within the limits of the delegation of powers, or they will be null and void. And in HCA in 1999, in the case Wakeham, a legislature cannot, by preambular assertions, recite itself into constitutional power where none exists. HCA in 1949, per Chief Justice Latham again, South Australia versus the Commonwealth, paragraph 13. A pretend law made in excess of the power is not and never has been a law at all. Now back to Kirby. In Justice Kirby, supporting case in 1923, Commonwealth versus New South Wales. Fijo versus the Northern Territory is the case I'm referring to. HCA 58, fee simple. Protection in all states of Australia. No one, not even the Queen, can trespass or take away property held in fee simple. Property owners in Australia are guaranteed in 3 different legal instruments as under Deeds in Fee Simple, Magna Carta 1215, the Bill of Rights 1688. The fee simple, this is the definition in the law which grants us our titles through the governors of the states, nothing to do with any government unless they can produce somewhere in the Constitution where they have authority over land. They have none. The fee simple means, in the language of the English law, the word fee signifies an estate of inheritance as distinguished from the lesser estate. The fee simple is the most extensive in quantum and the most absolute in respect to the rights which it confers of all estates known to the law it confers, and since the beginning of legal history it always has conferred. The lawful right to exercise over, upon, and in respect to the land every act of ownership which can enter into the imagination, including the right to commit unlimited waste, and for all practical purposes of ownership, it differs in the absolute dominion of a chattel is nothing except the physical indestructibility of its subject. Besides those rights of ownership, a fee simple at the present day confers an absolute right both of alienation inter vivos and of device by will. HCA 34, Commonwealth versus New South Wales, 1923, CLR 33, CLR, 9th of August 1923. No implied limitation can be placed on the fullest meaning that can be given to the word property in section 51(31) and section 85 of the Australian Constitution, section 22 Acts Interpretation Act 1901, so as to include messuages, tenements, hereditaments, corporeal and incorporeal, of any tenure of or description, and whatsoever may be the estate or interest therein, and estate to include any estate or interest, charge, right, title, claim, demand, lien or encumbrance at law on equity, the full contents of the parcel of land past the land, being measured superficially by metres and bounds, and extending actually downwards indefinitely, is that which is passing to the Commonwealth. Now, the Commonwealth has no authority over your land. And it goes further. These four elements of ownership allow the private landowner to build or change buildings without the need to ask permission, to start an enterprise on his land without the need to ask permission. And it's time, you liars, you thieves and traitors who created the Local Government Act in 1979 without going to the people, then tried 4 times to get control of our land by lying. But the problem is, your sitting in our parliament is a lie. You don't go there to represent us. If you went there to represent us, you read section 42 of the Constitution. It says every senator and every member of the House of Representatives, hear that? House of Representatives, must, before taking their seat, swear an oath contained in the schedule to the Constitution. This is the oath. I, A.B., whoever, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Victoria, her heirs and successors, according to law. So help me God. Affirmation. I, A.B., do solemnly and sincerely affirm and declare that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Victoria, her heirs and successors, according to law. The name of the King or Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland at the time being is to be substituted from time to time. Now this is where you morons, because you are, come unstuck. You've got people swearing on the Quran and every other bit of garbage. Not that the Quran is garbage. Every bit of garbage they can stick in their hands, rather than swear this oath, and you never swore it. The oath you swore is Queen Elizabeth II, her Queen of other realms, or whatever nonsense you put in there, Queen of Australia and her other realms. Sorry, unlawful oath. Now you swear to the King. There's only one thing wrong. You left out her heirs and successors in your little changed oath. You have no permission to change that oath. Because it is the act that provides it is an enabling act. It's an enabling act. It enables us to have a constitution subject to the act. And it's in here. It's in the law I just read out about the Constitution. It's a separate issue. Now, what you are not comprehending, or are and lying about, is you can't have a Royal Styles and Titles Act. That act is invalid. It's passed in excess of the authority granted because you don't have it by the Constitution. It does not exist. And it clearly states that. Page 795, the fourth paragraph. It's clear. That's what Justice Latham was quoting. And he was correct. Now what you're trying to say is there's no heirs and successors to the Queen of Australia. Who the hell's Charles? An heir and successor? No. Because you've got him here as King of Australia and his other realms. He is not. He is not. If it wasn't Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, so help me God, in the oath, or the same according to law in the affirmation, then the oaths are wrong. They're unlawful. So you don't have anybody sitting in your courts, in your parliament, or anywhere else that's lawful. You're nothing but a pack of liars. So, Albanese, you want control over our land. I just read where you haven't got it. You don't want us to have caravans on our land. Shut your mouth, mind your own business, and stay off our land. And the police do the same. You are disobeying the law, the supreme law. Latham said it, the Constitution is fact. Kirby said it. You can't change that, and you can't speak an authority into being when it doesn't exist in law. And guess where I got the schedule? Your book of the Australia Act. You hadn't changed the oath then. But you had changed the Queen of Australia because the Queen of Australia is Bob Hawke. Isn't that interesting? It really is, because when you put this Australia Act to the British Parliament, you lied. You left out the part that creates Australia as an independent sovereign nation. The Statute of Westminster Adoption Act 1942 is an invalid act because you backdated it to 1931, which means it's automatically invalid. You can't backdate law in this country. Unconstitutional, therefore invalid. But I reiterate the fact you had no authority to do anything because you changed the oaths. Now, letters patent relating to the office of Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen of Australia and other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth. No, lies, fraud. She isn't Queen of Australia, you moron. So, who is Queen of Australia? Go to the end of it. Given at our court at Balmoral on the 21st of August 1984, by Her Majesty's command, Bob Hawke, Prime Minister, the Queen of Australia. What an idiot. And you clowns think you're going to get away with this. Well, you know, Wyatt Wharton, a few years back, seized everything, got harassed by the federal police, who are not lawful. They've got to be Commonwealth police, whether you like it or not. Every state police officer has to be a Commonwealth police officer employed under the governor at a state level. That's the law. Like it or lump it, it's the law. I'm not beating around the bush with you clowns because you don't have a clue what you're talking about. You don't. Either if you do, you're blatant traitors. So I'm informing you of the truth. In 2017, I seized the 3 lawful tiers of the state parliament and gave all the reasons. They don't exist in law. You can't speak them back into law because you don't exist in law to do it. You don't. Till you put the original state constitution for the state of Western Australia in place, as required by 106 of the Constitution, Western Australia doesn't exist. Criminals do. The criminal state created under Section 8 of the Acts Amendment Repeals Court and Legal Practice Act does. But here comes the clanger. Wyatt Wharton seized this country. I seized this country on the 7th of January 2019 and filed it all into England. It was all accepted, notifications, a whole lot. We were told to send it to different departments. We did. So it was a lawful seizure under Clause 61 of Magna Carta. And no, I don't care what any professor in Australia says. You're a pack of nutcases if you tried to say the British Parliament could remove sections of Magna Carta. Every law, Magna Carta, 1688, Bill of Rights, Habeas Corpus, Act of Settlement, King James Bible, were locked in place as a constitution of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. You can't change that. They were stamped with the King's seal. That has never been removed. It's what they call a Forever Act. So any reference by any clown calling itself a judge of the High Court, which I've read a closing speech by one of them, was a load of garbage based on government policy, what you wanted us to know, all lies. Every single bit of it is nonsense. Oh, you hedged around the truth, came to it, but never met it. Because absolute authority in this country is with the people. Like it or lump it, that's the Constitution, that's the law. I'm not going to go in and tell you again. I'm sick and tired of telling you. If you don't want to listen to me, shut up. And you clowns that want to ridicule me, keep going. I don't care. You started a Telegram page, and I can't even access it. Why? Because I didn't start it. It's not my page. And what's on is a pack of lies. Now, I don't know who started it. I suspected it was a group of people who would like to shut me up, call police. But they're not police anyway. They're public officers. Their own acts say they're public officers, and they say they're two separate things. You've got a problem with that. But let's go back to the issue. You, Albanese, you cannot stop people putting caravans on their property. You have no rights inside the boundaries of any property. If the original title, which a lot of people have got, and everyone should have, because you can't issue a title, you can't. It's not a right granted to you. It's a right granted to the governors of the states to issue the titles over land, and they must be issued in fee simple. They go to the centre of the earth. You can't put restrictions on it. You never have been able to, and never can. And above it, to the extremities of space. There you go. You're bird brains if you try anything else. Anyway, the problem you have now, there is a large group of people arising in this country are going to shut it down. You know what it means, shut down? Close it off. Strike Australia-wide. Send you broke. And you are going to go back under our state constitution, like it or lump it. When all the state constitutions are back in place, then finally we can have the first sitting of the first lawful federal parliament. What am I telling you? A lot of yous are bird brains. You've been running a country with an unlawful parliament. The Chinese know it. I know that. So do other countries, and they laugh at yous. You have been lying to and misleading this country for long enough. That time is finished. The time for you to pull your head in. There is going to be an Australia-wide strike. It's going to block you all off. Do I know who's running it? Yes. Do I have to tell you no, because they're not committing an offence? They're doing it under Clause 61 of Magna Carta. I have to reveal to you indictable offences. I'm revealing them. Yours. Yours. You are the criminals. Everything you've done and said in this country is a crime. You've lied, you've cheated, and you idiots have created Torrens titles. Torrens himself was a lunatic who thought he could overturn imperial law. You think, oh, look at that, the Statute of Westminster removes the Colonial Laws Validity Act and all these others. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because the Parliament of Britain, if they pass the Statute of Westminster, which they claim they did, it's only a statute, but it doesn't override the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, a letters patent. Only one sitting person at any time can change that, the reigning monarch. You understand that? Comprehend it then. Comprehend that you have no authority. Comprehend that the people are the authority. That nonsense about the voice in South Australia, that's blatant treason. What have you done about that? Nothing. What should you be doing at? Sack the South Australian government and tell those clowns they're not taking people's land, because Fiji versus the Northern Territory says they can't. It says they can't. The land's held in fee simple. And it's the crown in right of the people, not in right of the states or the parliament or anything else. It's the crown in right of the people. Understand that. When are you going to wake up? This joint is going to be shut down. So peanuts like you can be thrown out of our parliament. Just go on the internet and see what the farmers have done in other countries. And what they do, spray them with urine and cow's waste. Looks good. I don't suggest they do that. I'm not even insinuating they do it. I'm saying do exactly what you intend doing. John Wilson, I agree with you. Shut this place down. The unions have done it for years to hold up our wharves and do everything else, and these peanuts in our parliament have done nothing. Let's see if you can try and do something when we shut the country down. We the people. I say we when I'm referring to the people of this country have the right to shut it down, because it says, whereas the people of New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia and Western Australia join together in one indissoluble federation, the Commonwealth of Australia. You're trying to dissolve it by stealth, by lies, by treachery, by theft, by treason and war on the Crown of England. You're not getting it. So we the people are going to shut you down. Don't like it? Tough. And any of you that have got anything between your legs or between your ears, wake up. If you don't stand up, these peanuts have taken everything you've got. Everybody who sells property, I know some people who sell property, they don't realise when you put a for sale sign on a property, you're lying. You're misleading and deceiving the people into conning them into a lifetime contract under Torrens title, because you don't own it, according to the so-called government. It actually doesn't exist in law. They're fee simple titles. Fee simple alienates the land from the Crown. And you are so gullible and stupid, you can pick up the Local Government Act and it says when the council takes the land off you, it's alienated from the Crown. How does that work when they're a registered trading company? In other words, you've given them authority over our land. I know why. Because it's a Labor Party policy backed up by the other political parties, always has been, to get rid of the states in favour of having a central government in Canberra with the states having no say, and you're running it like in America where you have counties, or in England where you have councils that tax you off your property so you don't live. You exist. Now you want to remove our currency. Read 115 of the Constitution, shut your mouth and mind your own business. You understand me? You cannot take currency out. You cannot force us under cards. What we really need is somebody from another country to drop an EMP bomb. You've got no computers. Then what have you got? Nothing. No record of anything. No nothing. If you want some advice off me, get a copy off your title, even if you print it out off the computer. If it doesn't say fee simple, go to your land gate or whoever deals in land in your state and demand it goes on there. Because to purchase it any other way is unlawful. You don't purchase it. You just pay a upfront fee to use it for your life and be able to sell it to recoup some of the money if you want. You don't own it. That's what Torrens title's all about. Now, I leave you with this thought. Yes, I back John Wilson. Yes, I back the people of Australia who stand up and say enough is enough. Shove your stupid law. It's garbage. All of your documents you've printed in the name of the Commonwealth Parliament, now you're calling it the Australian government, a registered company in America and Australia with an ABN number. All of that garbage has to go. You go back under our Constitution. Why? Because we said so. You don't like it? Am I a spokesman for them? No. This is my opinion based on our Constitution. Even the one you put out with your stupid Australia Act in it, which says it doesn't interfere with the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, the Commonwealth Constitution and the Statute of Westminster. So how can you comply with those three and say this book has any authenticity? You're a nutcase. Wake up. Come on. That's all I got to say. Have a lovely day.